auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma kanda. 9. To instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. And 10 is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to achieve the desired success, Krishna Prema. Once again, I thank you all. I welcome you all in this early morning Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. We will proceed to our next session, which is the study of Srimad Bhagavatam. But prior to that, devotees, if you unmute yourself and if you please announce your name, I would like to welcome you all in this platform. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhaktin, Nina Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, accept my humble obeisances, all close to Prabhupada, all close to all the devotees. Thank you very much for allowing to join me in your group. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving your association in Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call so consistently. You're welcome.
Namaskar. Dhanyavad. Khub bhal laga aapse kotha bolte. Khub bhal laga. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, Dandrat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Shalrut. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Devi Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for all your services. Please keep joining Bhakti Sangha Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Das Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for always joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Prabhu. Please keep giving us your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Sri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashomati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashomati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet, Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your wonderful chanting, Mataji. And thank you for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call every day. Please keep joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Valli from Naperville, Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Valli Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all the assembled devotees here. All glories to all our Guru Maharajas. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Mataji. Please keep joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nina Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharajis. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Rala.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mata, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Mataji. And thanks for your questions. Thanks for your association. Please keep joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. It's a Pramiti from London. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Bhakti Nina Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pramita Mataji. Welcome all the way from London, Mata. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Mataji. Please don't hesitate to spread the word all across your families, your friends, and please keep joining, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranams to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to all the assembled devotees. Vasundhara Devi Dasi from Bangalore, India. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vasundhara Mataji. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call, Mata. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj Mataji. Thank you for giving your association at this platform, Mata. Please keep joining. If Tiffany Mataji is there, I would humbly request her to go ahead and give a brief introduction of Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Devotees, today we are very fortunate to have His Grace, Krishna Dhana Prabhuji, joining us. Prabhuji, is it okay if we give a brief introduction about you?
Hare Krishna, I think many of them know. Up to you.
Okay. Mataji, what do you prefer? Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji, you can quickly do it. Tiffany Mataji.
Okay, Tiffany Mataji, if you could say a brief few words about His Grace, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We are so very fortunate to have with us His Grace Krishna Dhan Prabhuji. Krishna Dhan Prabhuji has been a senior brahmachari and full-time preacher at ISKCON Nashik since 2008. He is presently the president of ISKCON Nashik and looks after youth preaching activities there. As the founder and director of Samruddhi School of Leadership, he has been stressing how crucial it is to train and guide teenagers. He has also written a book called Get, Set, Go, Student Success Handbook, which is highly acclaimed for its lucidity and for being a practical guide in Krishna consciousness. Prabhuji has also written another book called Launch Your Life to the Next Level. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining us today and sharing your association with us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Tiffany Mataji, for the wonderful introduction. Prabhuji, today we are going to continue from Canto 6, Chapter 16, verse number 7. Whenever you're ready, Prabhu, you can take the call over. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Let us chant invocation prayers first. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu, you are.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanas Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, entitled Chitraketu Meets Supreme Lord, and text number 7. The text goes like this: Nityasyarthasya sambandho yanityo drishyate nrushu yavadyasya hi sambandho mamatvam tavadevahi. A translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: a few living entities are born in the human species and others are born as animals. Although both are living entities, their relationships are impermanent. An animal may remain in the custody of a human being for some time, and then the same animal may be transferred to the possession of other human beings. As soon as the animal goes away, the former proprietor no longer has a sense of ownership. As long as the animal is in his possession, he certainly has an affinity for it. But as soon as the animal is sold, the affinity is lost. Purport: aside from the fact that the soul transmigrates from one body to another, even in this life, the relationships between the living entities are impermanent, as exemplified in this verse. The son of Chitraketu was named Harsha Shoka, or jubilation and lamentation. The living entity is certainly eternal, but because he is covered by a temporary dress, the body, his eternity is not observed. Dehinosmin yathadehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. The embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age. Thus, the bodily dress is impermanent. The living entity, however, is permanent. As an animal is transferred from one owner to another, the living entity, who was the son of Chitraketu, lived as his son for some time. But as soon as he was transferred to another body, the affectionate relationship was broken. As stated in the example given in the previous verse, when one has a commodity in his hands, he considers it is his. But as soon as it is transferred, it becomes someone else's commodity. Then one no longer has a relationship with it. It has no affection for it, nor does he lament for it. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all the devotees for this session. We are meeting after a long time. And we are discussing 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam and chapter 16, which is entitled Chitraketu Meets the Supreme Lord. And this is text 7. So actually, Narada Muni, in previous chapter, we saw how Narada Muni instructed King Chitraketu that we are not these bodies, and the bodies are temporary, and we are souls, we are eternal, and so many teachings were given by Narada Muni. Once the son was dead, whose name was Harshashoka, and Chitraketu is lamenting like anything. So now what Narada Muni did, Narada Muni made that dead son into alive, and let the dead son who is now alive, let him speak now to Chitraketu to remove his lamentation. And then the living entity starts speaking actually. This is Harshashoka speaking actually. So Harshashoka says, no. So verses number 4 to 11 is what the dead Harshashoka, who is now alive, and he is now preaching to his so-called father. So in verse 4 to 6, he has spoken various things about Narada Muni, you're talking about parents. Which birth they were my parents. So as if, to asking this question, which birth you are my parents, then it is like, slapping Chitraketu on his face. Which birth you are my parents? You are lamenting. I had taken so many births. And he starts speaking from then. And this verse, the verse which is under discussion today, 7th verse. So he's saying these relationships are temporary. Interestingly, if you see, I'll again share the kind of translation Srila Prabhupada has given. It's half purport only, because you will not see any word animal in the shloka. Nityasya arthasya sambandho hi anityo drishyate drusho. In the human beings, what is that nityasya arthasya? Arthasya means things. of the eternal, the relationship is actually seen temporary. Yavadhyasi sambandho, till you have sambandha, mamatvam tavadevahi. You will see mamatva, or these things are mine. Mamta, you will see till then. Till what time? Yavad tavad. Yavad means as long as, and tavat means that long. So yavat tavat. Yavadhi sambandho, tavadhi mamatva eva. So till the point you have sambandha, till that point you have this mamatva. So there is no word like animal and the soul animal. So Prabhupada actually has explained the shloka. So maybe in a connection with the previous and the next shloka, and directly makes that into a translation. Like human species born, others are, some are animals, some are humans, and relationships are impermanent, and animal is transformed to other human beings, and animal goes away, the proprietor loses the ownership, and then the proprietor loses affinity, like that. So the entire analogy Prabhupada explains the translation. So this is very interesting actually. So in this, we are going to discuss about two aspects basically. So one theme which we'll be talking today is about relationships, and the second thing which we will be talking about is the Narad Muni as an expert teacher. So first of all, when we talk about relationships, maybe I can draw something. I'll try to explain this through. So when we talk about relationships, there can be some extremes, you know. When we talk about relationships, there are two extremes in terms of relationships. And those extremes are, one is relations are all in all. And the second extreme is relations are illusion. Relationships are all in all means what? So these are basically what we can say. Two aspects or two extremes. Relationships are all in all, and which is basically what we can say a path of a karma kanda. And when we say relationships are illusion, that is nothing but jnana, the path of jnana. It propounds this. But there is also the third way of dealing, and which is the most balanced way actually. And what we can say that as relations as a caretaker, and basically that is in the path of bhakti, the balanced approach of relationships. So in the path of so these are just the names given actually. They're not exactly in this sense, but relationships are all in all, assuming them to be permanent, and just being into relationships, getting attached, over attached to persons, things, events. Actually, that is the way of making life miserable, right? Because Prahlad Maharaj prays Lord Narasimha in 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, Yasmat Priya Apriya Viyoga Samyoga Janma Shokagnina Sakalayo Nishudayyamanaha. What is Priya, what is loving, what is dear to you, there is going to be Viyog of that Priya. And what is Apriya, what is not dear, there is going to be Sanyog of that. You are going to meet that. So you are going to meet things or people which are not so dear to you, and you are going to lose things or people who are dear to you. And because of that, Shokagnina Sakalayo Nishudayyamanaha, all living entities are tormented because of these things. Priya, Apriya, Viyoga, Samyoga. So that is going to happen. So overly attached in terms of relationships, actually, then that makes you miserable. And we have the example of overly attached person, that is Dhritarashtra. It's overly attached. Relationships are all in all, and my son is all in all, and therefore he was thinking always in terms of mine and others, Mamakaha Pandavashaiva Kima Kurota Sanjaya. Very first sloka of Bhagavad Gita, the first question which is asked by Dhritarashtra to Sanjay is, what did they do? My sons and sons of Pandu. Actually, he was the caretaker for Pandavas as well, but he differentiated them, not born from me. So when we are overly attached to people or things, but the nature of the material world is that they are temporary, either the things or the people whom we are attached to, they are going to leave, or we are going to leave. Someone or the other, there is separation is guaranteed. And the example is also given, just like straws are there. Two straws in the ocean, they meet each other, and again the next wave comes and they are separated, never to meet again. So they are temporary. But when we say they are temporary, are we just going to neglect them, just as in the second case here? Are we just going to neglect, as seen in the relationships are illusion? Oh, relationships are totally temporary. We are not the bodies, and these relationships are all based on body, and we just don't require them. And though we have not transcended, still we act on that platform and neglect those relationships, then that will also make our life miserable. So what is the best way then? The best way, as here mentioned, that understanding that the other persons, okay, we understand that I'm not the body, I am soul, but other person is also soul. So I'm part of Krishna. Mame Vamshu Jiva Loke Jiva Buddha Sanatana. The other person who is soul, he is also part and parcel of Krishna. So he is also Krishna's part and parcel. I am also Krishna's part and parcel. So on the level of soul, we are related. We are related with Krishna. So we have a vertical relationship with Krishna, and we have a horizontal relationship amongst the people in this world. So then how do you understand? So I have a family. I have my family members to take care, right? So are they illusion? So no. We are like a caretaker. They are also Krishna's property, and I am the caretaker of that property. So if we have this attitude, then our relationship will be meaningful. So we are not losing contact with Krishna. We are not losing contact with or the relationships with the other horizontal plane. So that is the way of Krishnaizing our relationships. So basically doing our duty. Doing our duty. And there is very nice, as I mentioned, Prabhupada translates this, as long as Sambandha is there, Mamatva is there. Yavadeva Sambandham Tavadeva Mamatvahi. Sambandha, till the point we have this Sambandha, relationships, till that point Mamatva is going to be there. This is my laptop, and that Mamatva is going to be there. So as long as Sambandha was and the example, wonderful example Prabhupada gives, you sell an animal and you lose the proprietor, and then it's not mine. Very funny example, very nice example, and funny in a sense, we might not end because we are not so much into living in this world of selling an animal, buying an animal. Who does that these days? But actually we do selling of a car, right? Purchasing a car, selling a car, we do that. So recently, today only, what happened? There is a devotee who called me, and he had gone home with a car, and which he has recently purchased a second-hand car from Bhakta Vijay. So from Vijay, this person whose name is Hari, this Hari has purchased a car. So Hari has purchased a car from Vijay, and Hari went on a tour, and while coming back, Hari meets with an accident. Now this Hari, who has met with an accident, he calls me, and this happened, my vehicle is not yet transferred on my name, what will happen, how to go about insurance, and all these things he was talking about. So the point is, then he calls Vijay. Then he calls Vijay, and he calls Vijay and tell, I have met with an accident, please help me. And then Vijay tells him, okay, you met with an accident, go to a garage, put your car there, insurance, the third party insurance I have done already, and 50% of the money you'll get back, like that. I have met the same Vijay when the car belonged to him, and how panicked he was when he met with an accident prior. And now Vijay has sold the car to Hari. Till the car is in the name of Vijay only. The process of transfer is in the process. Work is in the progress. Here in India, transferring of vehicle take months, So 1 month process. So already RC book and that has been submitted. Now they are withdrawing, give us back, insurance need to be claimed, and the vehicle is in the name of Vijay. Hari met with an accident. So the point is, when Vijay sold the vehicle, there is no mamatva, right? It's not mine. If he would have met with an accident, how panicked he would have become. So the car is sold, and you are no longer mamatva with the car, right? So basically, this I and mine consciousness is the problem actually. I and me, In third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 25, Kapil Muni instructs his mother Devahuti, and a very beautiful shloka. He says, Aham mama abhimanutthai kamalobha adibirmalaihi vitam yada manah shuddham adukham asukham samam. Aham mama abhiman utthai. Considering things, oneself to be the body, aham, and things in relation to the body are mine, mamatva, mamata, ahamta and mamata. Aham mama abhiman utthai. And because developing pride in that, abhiman utthai, kama lobha adibhir malai. Kam, lobha means lust, anger, greed. All these are born of this ahamta and mamata. Vitam yada mana shuddham. Once you are free from these dualities, free from these anarthas, vitam yada. Vitam means getting freed from. Yada mana shuddham. When the mind is purified of these impurities, vitam yada mana shuddham, adukham asukham samam. Then happiness and distress will be like you'll be equipoised in happiness and distress. That's what Krishna has asked, like sukha dukkhe samaya krutva labha labho jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsasi. You fight in this consciousness of samatva. And Krishna says samatvam yoga uchyate. So basically this equanimity, when one can attain that sthita pragya, that equanimous state, when one is freed from this kama lobha adivir malaihi. Mal means impurities. When one is freed from these impurities, then one can experience or practice equanimity. But that can happen when that ahamta and mamata is gone. So ahamta and mamata means what we do actually. Ahamta means I exist, I am the body. And mamata means things in relation to the body are mine. We don't have to kill this ahamta and mamata. We just have to redirect this ahamta and mamata. How? Ahamta. What is the aham? Spiritualized aham is basically, I am part and parcel of Krishna. I am soul. I am Jivera Surubhai Krishna Nityadas. I am eternal servant of Krishna. That is ahamta. And what is mamata? Mamata means Krishna is mine. He will never leave me. He is my supreme father. He is my supreme shelter. That is mamata. So when we actually cultivate this ahamta and mamata and simultaneously spiritualize those relations around us, then actually we become a happy spiritualist. And even we see, you read Ramayana, you read Krishna book, you see these two personalities, Krishna and Rama, and how they dealt in terms of their relationships. Lord Ram specifically, like he exemplified and lived his life as a perfect son, right? He obeyed the orders of Dashrath Maharaj and Kaikeyi given by them. Though he was supposed to be like coronated the next day, but he was exiled. He accepted the order. So perfect son and perfect husband, took care of Sita, whatever she wanted, took care of that. And a perfect brother, took care of Bharata, did not misunderstand him. A perfect friend, Sugriv, in terms of like Sugriv, he gave him also the kingdom, helped him. So like that, a perfect son, perfect master, perfect father, perfect brother, perfect husband. So in terms of all these relationships, when I see, they showed us the perfection. So we also need to understand that we can't condemn relationships while living in this material world, and at the same time we don't want to get attached and overly entangled in the relationships and completely neglect the spiritual life. Or in terms of spiritual life, don't neglect the relationships. So there has to be a balance, and how this balance need to be sought is seen in the life of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram themselves. So this is the first aspect what I wanted to discuss on this topic, based on relationships, what the Harsha Shok, who is now alive and who is speaking. The second aspect in today's discussion is what we can see in the 15th chapter. Narada, along with Angira, he came, and they were talking to King Chitraketu. Narada perfectly instructed King Chitraketu. 15th chapter, or entire last almost 8-10 verses were instructions by Narada Muni to King Chitraketu. But King Chitraketu, there was not much effect of those instructions on King Chitraketu. So then Narada Muni need to make a plan. He's a preacher. He can't let him go like this. He's a perfect teacher. He has to do something. So what he did, he made that dead son alive and let the dead son speak. And when that dead son spoke, we'll see. Just now, 7-8 verses, this dead son will speak. And after that, Narada Muni has already initiated him, Chitraketu, given him the mantra. He goes, he chants the mantra, and he attains such a perfection that he sees Supreme Lord. That is the title of the chapter, right? Chitraketu meets with the Supreme Lord. So basically, the preacher has to be effective in terms of application of a strategy. What type of strategy I need to employ? What method I should use to preach or to teach someone? And Narada Muni is the perfect example, actually. You see, entire Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni has used various means and methods to teach various students. The one which we are witnessing in the 6th canto is making the dead son alive and making him speak. This is an amazing feat, actually. In Marathi, there is a saying, Sonarane kan tochawe. Basically, Sonar means goldsmith. Well, like in Vedic culture, there is a sanskar called as Karna Vedan sanskar, making a hole in the ear. There is science behind that. So piercing the hole. So then parents also can do. But parents, the kid is small, and how can the parents do? And then the child will start crying. You take him to a goldsmith, and he knows, and he will immediately pierce, making something hot, and the things are done. So he should. So Narmani knows, that if I make this dead son alive, and if he speaks, the dead son actually, his role is only for the time being. He speaks this 8-10 slokas and then departs. But that if the whatever he has spoken, actually, if you see the 15th chapter last slokas and the 16th chapter beginning slokas, they are same. Narmani has spoken same things previously, and this Jiva also speaks same things. But the whatever Jiva spoke, that created an impact on the heart of Chitraketu. So this is the preaching strategy actually. So making a dead son alive was a strategy. If you go back into 4th canto, Daksha's son, Haryashvas, 10,000 sons of Daksha, they were performing austerity. How did Narada preach to them? Narada just put forth a question in front of them, in a form of prahelika, riddle. And that riddle itself, all those 10,000 sons of Daksha who were performing austerity, they answered the riddle and they became devotees, and they left everything. They became brahmacharis. And then again 1,000 Shavalashvas, another set of 1,000 sons. And then how did Narada preach to them? Narada just said, okay, you are all younger brothers of Haryashvas, like Haryashvas did this, you should follow them. And all those 1,000 also. So Narada's strategy is amazing, like you go to 10th canto, Nalukver and Manigriv, they were bathing naked in the Mandakini river along with some damsels, and Narada Muni happens to go there. So Narada Muni is going there, and he saw them. All those girls who were there, they dressed themselves immediately, becoming shameful after seeing Narada, and they were like intoxicated, therefore they didn't care about presence of Narada Muni. And then Narada cursed them. Okay, you are like, Narada Muni didn't preach, don't you understand, you're not the body, and why are you doing this intoxication, this is sin actually. Narada Muni didn't preach like that. He immediately cursed them, become trees. And then they said, please pardon us, please forgive us. They started begging forgiveness. And then, okay, you'll become a tree. The curse has to be true. Has to become true. You will become trees, but in Nanda Bhavan then. They became trees in Nanda Bhavan, actually. The 10th canto, 10th chapter, the whole story of Nalkver Manigriva is described. And how Krishna then, after 9th chapter is Damodar Leela. So whole Damodar Leela happens. And in the 10th chapter, actually, deliverance of Nalkver Muchukunda is there. So whole story is narrated there. So they were liberated by the hands of Krishna. So Narada knew exactly what is to be done for their benefit. He didn't preach there, not even a single word, immediate curse. But that curse was also for their good actually. And this was the strategy. This was the strategy. How did Narada preach to Prahlad, in the womb of his mother? Prahlad was there in the womb. Narada knew that after his birth, I will not be able to allow, I will not be allowed in the kingdom and go and teach, right? So in the hidden way, when Kayadu was in the ashram of Narada Muni, that time only he did a whole Bhagavad Katha. Everything was narrated to Prahlad, all the Bhagavad Tattva, in the womb only. And from there only he started practicing bhakti. So preaching in the womb. And to King Prachin Barhi, we saw in the 4th canto, right? To King Prachin Barhi, and Narada Muni started speaking to Prachin Barhi. Actually, you should retire. But he was not listening. Let me tell you a story. And then he took him to the story, Katha Kathan, that style. And the whole story of Puranjan was narrated. And later on, he told, hey, you are only that fellow. Don't be attached. Leave now. So then that clicked Prachin Bari. Oh, I'm supposed to leave now. Okay. And then he departed actually. Handed over the kingdom to his sons and then departed. He retired. So through story, Narada Muni preached then. And Dhruva, what did Narada do? Dhruva now has left home because of the insult from Uttanapad and the guidance of his mother Suniti. He started going to the forest, Madhuvan. And there also Narada Muni comes in picture. Oh, Dhruva, what is this? What is happening? I'm going to perform tapasya. Okay, for what cause? I want a kingdom better than this. How can they insult me? And then Narada tastes him actually. You're a small boy. And, what is this anger, revenge? Give up that. No. And then Narada said, okay, you are a small kid. How can you do this? He said, no. And like that, the conversation. You are small. You are supposed to play. Go and play. Why are you taking things so seriously? Like that, he tested him first. And then when he saw that Dhruva is really Dhruva means determined. He's determined to go. Okay. Then he taught him a mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Go, chant, worship like this. Do this. You will see Lord. Dhruva saw Lord in just 6 months. Less than 6 months actually. So this was the strategy by Narada Muni. So we see so many different examples. Narada Muni is applying different strategies for preaching and giving the message to them, making them receptive first, and then planting the seed, and then helping them fructify that seed as well. So in terms of teaching, when we say, let me share something interesting. When we this is required for all teachers and preachers of Krishna consciousness actually. Okay, let me clear the screen first. Okay. So I will just do. When we say teaching or preaching, the 3 S of preaching, which one should be aware of? So the first S is subject. The second S is student. And the third S is strategy. I'll explain what do I mean by this. So while teaching or preaching, the teacher or the preacher has to have knowledge of the subject. First of all, first is knowledge of the subject, what I'm teaching exactly. And not only that, but what I'm teaching is going to benefit that person. Do I believe that this is ultimately for their benefit? And do I know the subject well? If no, then I need to prepare myself thoroughly. This is the first thing, knowledge of the subject. Second is knowledge about the student. That is also essential. Knowledge about the student means what? Okay, what stage they are. What stage they are. What age they are having now. What age group. What is their background, previous background. Understanding that actually. Therefore, actually, this knowledge is so essential. Teacher teaches as per the level of the student. Like Srila Prabhupada, when he went abroad and when he started preaching, so the level of the audience was different, and therefore he preached in a different way, different style with them. And when he was with his devotees, core group of devotees, he would talk on different topics. So understanding the level of the student, understanding the age also actually. Even if you want to teach let's say I want to teach humility or gratitude. So the gratitude will be taught to kids in different way, to teenagers in a different way, and to elders people in a different way. And that is the third S, which is strategy. We should also know the ways by which we need to communicate the message. Like we saw different ways employed by Narada Muni, right? Because he was aware of the subject. He was also aware of the student. What type of student? Nalkuver, Manigrav, they are not going to listen. So curse them. Curse was the strategy. So we need to understand the strategy also while our teaching happens. Because a perfect strategy will make teaching and learning a joy. Otherwise, if the teacher is not aware of the good strategies of teaching, then students will get bored. Now you can just remember some of your teachers. You know, we go back into your school days or college days, and any subject which you like. I do this exercise sometimes in our teacher training. Do some exercise that remember which subject you like in which standard, and the subject you like because you loved the teacher, right? And you hate the subject sometimes because you hate the teacher, the way the teacher is teaching. So it's very essential in terms of transmission of the message that we should be aware of various strategies which will work at what time, on what type of students, because the subject knowledge is going to be same. Like I mentioned, gratitude, teaching values, gratitude and humility, let us say, the knowledge is going to remain the same. And therefore, what is the difference between Vidwan and Shikshak, teacher? Vidwan is one who just have the knowledge of the subject. That is Vidwan. But he don't have the knowledge of the student. This is Vidwan. But when we say teacher, he has knowledge of the subject, he has knowledge of the student, and he also has the knowledge of the strategy. So Vidwan might not have the knowledge of the strategy and the student. Getting the point? So the first line symbols are for Vidwan, second line symbols are for a good teacher and a preacher. So Vidwan has the knowledge of the subject, thorough knowledge, but they don't have knowledge of the student and the knowledge of the strategy. But a good teacher or a preacher, he has all these three: knowledge of the subject, knowledge of the student, and knowledge of the strategy as well. So this is very essential that when we are presenting, and basically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking us, Amar Agya Guru Hayya Tari Desh. You might say, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a preacher. But according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are. Let's accept that. We can't deny that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has ordained and ordered us to do that. So we are doing that to some extent. So if we can do that in a better way, why not? And we have Narada Muni as an example, right? And not only Narada Muni, we also have example of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Rupa and Sanatana, how did he teach? You open Chaitanya Charitamrita in Dashashwamedh Ghat, he was talking one-to-one with them. One-on-one discussion he taught them. Rupa Goswami Dashashwamedh Ghat for 10 days. After that, Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan and wrote Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu and all those books. And after that, Sanatan Goswami met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 1 month again, full training, and then one-to-one discussion. And then Sanatan Goswami went back to Vrindavan, wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas and all those books. So one-on-one discussion. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Rai, Ramananda Rai, when they met, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't speak much. He just asked questions. So just ask questions and Ramananda Rai gave answers. And the whole Madhya Lila chapter 8 is discussion between Ramananda Rai and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So how did they interact? through question and answers. How did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preach to Prakashanand Saraswati, who was a stalwart sannyasi at that time, Mayavadi sannyasi? When Mahaprabhu was in Varanasi, that time Brahman has invited both of them, all sannyasis, to his home. Prakashanand Saraswati was there, all his, along with his thousands of disciples. And then he invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? He didn't speak anything. He just sat at a place which was supposed to wash feet. So expressing his humility. And not only that, he expressed his humility by sitting at a place, but he was knowing that Prakashanand Saraswati, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the knowledge of the subject. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has the knowledge of the student. He's Prakashanand Saraswati. He's attracted to Brahma Tejas. So therefore, what was the strategy employed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He made himself effulgent. You see that picture is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can open it. Tej, effulgence is coming out of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's face. And then Prakashanand was attracted. Oh, such a effulgent sannyasi. What is he doing there? And then he went and gave him hand. Oh, go, why are you sitting here? Come. And he gave him hand. And that was actually Agya Sukruti. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy. Prakashanand Saraswati, along with all his disciples, became servant of Lord Chaitanya there. He accepted Achintya Bheda Tattva. And there is afterwards, obviously, a good amount of discussion between the two. So the point is, and also Sarvam Bhattacharya, we all know, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken sannyas and they're going through the way. And 6th chapter, they entered into Jagannath Puri. Lord Jagannath, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is alone. He meets Lord Jagannath and in ecstasy, he falls down and shows all the Ashtasatvik Vikar. Sarvam Bhattacharya comes there, lifts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, takes him home. He comes into external consciousness, and then Sarvam Bhattacharya for 7 continuous days, he was just speaking about Vedanta, and Lord Chaitanya just is listening to him. You see that picture, expressionless face of Mahaprabhu. If you want to see that picture, Sarvam Bhattacharya is instructing on a higher stage. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is listening down and sitting down and just listening. Expressionless face. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just listened to him, and then later on 7th day, Sarvam Bhattacharya is confused. Are you understanding what I am saying? And Mahaprabhu then replied, actually Vedanta is so clear, It is like a clear sun, Your explanation is like cloud which is covering the sun. And then he said, what is your explanation? And then he started giving his explanations. And then Sarvam Bhattacharya was converted, and we saw he became the interim associate of Lord Chaitanya. Antaranga Parshad he became. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also knew what type of student is he, what is the strategy I should use to preach and teach him the process of Krishna consciousness. And even our Srila Prabhupada, right? Srila Prabhupada was amazing. He knew these hippies, sometimes they won't be able to learn. Let us chant, let us do kirtan, give them prasad. Later on we'll see. One time in 1968, Srila Prabhupada, amazing thing, same questions asked to Srila Prabhupada at various places by various persons. Prabhupada gave different answers. Now the subject is same, right? Krishna consciousness, subject is same. The student is different. The place, time is different. Therefore, Prabhupada employed a different strategy while answering. Someone said to Srila Prabhupada, man went on moon. Srila Prabhupada said, we didn't go to moon only. At other point, someone was asking, what if they have gone to moon? Prabhupada then said, he didn't say they didn't went to moon. Prabhupada said, okay, they went to moon. What did they bring? Some rocks. Nothing more valuable, right? So he was so dynamic, in his preaching styles. One time in 1968, Los Angeles, Srila Prabhupada was there, and someone asked him a question. Swamiji, how do you relate International Society of Krishna Consciousness with Hinduism? Is it part of Hinduism? Srila Prabhupada said, no. Hinduism practically, we don't recognize this Hinduism word only. It's not mentioned in Vedas. It's a foreign term. Some Mohammedans were there. They called inhabitants of India as Hindus, and then the word Hinduism came, and it is not there in Vedic literature. It's a foreign term. It's not a Vedic term. This was 1968, LA. 1975 London, same question in a different tone by a different reporter. How does Krishna consciousness relate to Hindu religion? Because Hindu religion is also based on Gita. Your ISKCON is also based on Gita. Srila Prabhupada said Krishna is not only meant for Hindus. He appeared in Hindustan. Therefore, it is duty of all Hindus to understand Krishna first. Now getting the point. He's not saying Hinduism is not a word. He's saying that Krishna appeared in Hindustan. You are all Hindus. You are supposed to know Krishna. Why are you becoming like Christians? You know, they say that they admit they are Christians, but they don't follow Christianity. So you identify yourself as Hindu, then learn Hinduism. You already celebrate Janmashtami and all that stuff. So get associated more with Krishna. Be careful about Krishna's instructions, like that. So we have to find out various ways and means actually by which this process of Krishna consciousness can be infiltrated into the hearts of varied minds. Recently we started something like a talk show in the temple. No, talk show. You know talk show, right? Two persons are talking. One is asking, another person answers, and there is audience also actually. And this we do sometimes in Sunday Bhagavatam also. So one time we took this theme of is Ramayana relevant, and I was just asking various questions to Prabhuji, Shikshashtam Prabhu who were here, and we had a good discussion. And the discussion went on for two and a half hours. And we could see in the audience's eyes, you know, everyone was interesting. What is the next question coming up? How Prabhuji is going to answer? And okay, how is it relatable? So they went on, and no one realized the time also. And then later on we had to stop. There were so many questions coming from the audience also. So many questions were coming online also. So we had to stop. Let us do part 2. So sometimes when the discussion is monologous, only one person speaking, then the audience sometimes get distanced from the person. But when the discussion actually that when we had the first talk show in our temple, then I introduced the authenticity of this talk show. How? In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, first chapter, verse number 16. Vasudeva katha prashnaha purusham strin punatihi vaktaram pruchakam shrotrum tatpada salilam yatha. Vasudeva katha prashnaha. Vasudeva katha prashna. Questions about Vasudeva. Purushan strin punatihi. 3 types of people are delivered when there is Vasudeva katha prashna. When there is discussion about Vasudeva katha is happening, 3 types of persons are purified. Who are they? Vaktaram, one who is speaking. Pruchakam, one who is asking the question. And Shrotrum, one who is listening. Tatpada salilam yatha. Just as river Ganges purifies the 3 worlds, you know. Bhurbhuvaswaha. So 3 worlds are purified by Mother Ganga. Similarly, 3 types of people are purified by Vasudeva Katha Prashna. Vakta, who is asking. So what is there in the talk show? There is Vakta, who is speaking. Vaktaram, Pruchakam. There is someone who asks the question. And Shrotrum, there are people who are going to listen. And this is basically Samvad, right? Samvad. So then it was relatable. Yeah, it is there in Bhagavatam. And he said, Bhagavad Gita also, if you see, there is discussion happening. Krishna is not giving Upadesh to Arjuna. There is discussion. Arjuna is asking questions actually. Arjuna is asking questions and Krishna is answering. So in all, 17 questions were asked by Arjuna in entire Bhagavad Gita, and 17 questions are answered by Lord Krishna. I have a lecture, there is a Gita in question answer. So all those 17 questions summarized and 17 answers given by Lord Krishna in 1 hour, full Gita. So at the end of every chapter, if you do Gita Pathan, you know, we do recite entire Bhagavad Gita in our temple on every Ekadashi. So we have at the end of every chapter we recite that Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Arjuna Vishad Yogo Nama Pratamo Adhyayah. like first chapter, second chapter, like that. We recite the names of the chapter also. So it said Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. It is not Sri Krishna Arjuna Upadeshe. Right? Krishna didn't, it's not a monologue, Krishna giving just instructions, do this, do that. No. It's a dialogue. It's a discussion. Therefore, Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. So Samvad Paddhati is one of the methods of teaching, and therefore talk show is authentic. Right? So I'm not saying every day then there should be talk show and no Bhagavatam. No. According to audiences, sometimes we need to alter some of the methods. Some of the strategies can be used. Like Narad Muni is using different strategies for different audiences. So same thing a teacher needs to do. So in all, what we discussed today, we discussed first of all relationships. We discussed because the Jiva, Harshishoka Jiva is speaking to Chitraketu that everything is temporary. So basic relationships are temporary, bodies are temporary, the soul is eternal. So how do we practically relate to us is that we don't have to condemn all relationships and we don't have to be attached in terms of relationships, but we have to be what we can say responsible in our relationships, do our duties, and we should all Krishnize our relationships in terms of having vertical relationship with Krishna and also the horizontal relationship along with all of them whom we are associated with. This point we discussed spirituality, and we also saw how Lord Ram lived an ideal person in terms of relationship, how Lord Krishna lived an ideal person in terms of relationship, and then later on we discussed how Narad Muni made that dead Harshishok into alive and asked him to speak. So this is the strategy actually used by Narada. So and from then we come to know that there are teaching. There are 3 S in teaching: knowledge of the subject, knowledge of the student, and knowledge of the strategy, which I need to apply while dealing with different types of students. And then we discussed how Narad Muni has employed so many different strategies. He cursed Nalkuber and Manigriv. He tested Dhruva. He preached to Prahlad in the womb, and he made that dead son into alive and asked him to preach in terms of Chitraketu Maharaj's pastime. And to Haryashvas, he just gave them a riddle to solve, and they became devotees. And to Shavalashvas, just one line, follow your elders, and they became devotees. So like that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also different strategies in terms of talking with different types of people, right? When he went to Dakshin Bharat, he just did kirtan, nothing else, no discussion. And when he met core members like Sanatan Rup, then he discussed core philosophy. Ramandra, he just asked questions. Sarvamotacharya, he just listened. Prakashan Saraswati, he showed him Brahma Tejas. So like that. And Prabhupada also, we saw different incidences that how he gave answers to same question in a different fashion at different times, seeing the audience and seeing the context. And we also said that Samvad Paddhati, how it is like one of the effective, like you see, Prashna Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, all these are Samvad actually. Someone asking some other person, some Samvad is happening. And to that Samvad, we saw that wonderful shloka, that when Krishna's Katha is discussed, Vasudeva Kataha Prashnaha, Purushan Stin Pranati, 3 types of people are purified, Bhaktaram, Puchakam, and Shotrums. And that's how, when we also want to be an effective teacher, we need to equip ourselves with these scriptural strategies. And just by looking at the Acharyas, we can understand what are all things they used. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. If there are any questions, we can discuss.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, with such a wonderful class. It was so nice to hear about all the strategies, especially when you talked about mamatva, which is really what we should do when we talk about aham and mamatva. It was so nice, and all the strategies that you gave, Prabhu. Devotees, please do not hesitate to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask the questions. I think Prahladananda Prabhuji, would you like to go ahead and ask your question? Or
Hare
go
Krishna.
ahead, yes.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, and Krishna Dhan Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam for your excellent exposition. Prabhuji, regarding the relationships, I have some reflection. I don't have a question. The reflection is that of how do we have dealings with our family, my wife, my children, my parents, and all these things. So I have almost followed the Rushabdev Maharaj's teaching, which says, Yeva Mai se Krutu Saurudartha, Janesu Deham Bharvartikesu, Gruhesu Jaya Atma Jarasmatsu, Na Priti Yukta Yavad Arthascha Loke. So I have developed this strategy where Rushabdev Maharaj also says, Pitarna Syat, Patina Syat, Janajina Syat, Pitana. So if I engage my dependents in Krishna's service, in both Bhakti Yoga and Srila Prabhupada's mission, and I keep my affection for them as much, namak mein dal, just like proportional, yavad arthascha loke, then probably I'm following a proper teachings of Sri Narad Muni, which is exposing to Chitraketu Maharaj like that.
Yeah,
So that was my reflection.
Perfect.
That was my reflection on that. Again, regarding the relationships, there is one Brahma Vaivat Puran slok which came to my mind was Deva Dinam Jagat Sarvam Janma Karma Subhasubham Sanyogascha Viyogascha Nacha Devat Param Balam. Then he says, Krishna Yattam Chitat Devam Sa Devat Parastata Bhajanti Satatam Santa Paramatmanam Iswaram. So if you do Bhagavan Krishna's service, he will guide us through his devotees and make our relationships all transcendental, even in this temporary life and material life. So these are some of the reflections I had, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for your association. Very well.
Wonderful. Thank you for throwing more light on relationships.
Hare Krishna Paladananda Prabhuji, thank you for sharing your reflections. Sukhakar Krishna Das, would you like to go ahead with your question?
Yes. Hare Krishna Tipali Mataji. Hare Krishna Dhan Prabhu, your classes are so elaborative because I heard about you from Sarup Damodar Prabhu, who is in Dubai. We were together in Bangalore, and his brother is Shishachakam Prabhu. He's from Nasik only. So I know that you are so wonderful. I think Nasik full is completely so much pure devotees in Nasik. I want to come and meet you all. I'm in Chennai now. So Prabhuji, I just want to know that you gave a very good example of the second-hand car sold by Hari and Vijay. So when it is easy to preach, when it is my car, I'm so much worried, and when I already sold it, don't worry, insurance will take care of this. So though we are reading Bhagavad Gita, but we are never, when it comes to us, we get panicky. We go for the katha. We hear no attachment. Our chappal is lost, and we are just giving so sad. Chappal is lost, and 2 hours we search, and then we get it. Then we understand Krishna wanted to see whether we are able to apply. One small chappal for 300-400 lost, and we are just almost like tears. So how these things, you're told that, but when it comes to real application, like another thing you told, that if somebody dies in the family, so I got 2 brothers, one of us dies. When I read, I know, yes, but when really they die, then you become so much cry and this and all. So and then you told about Rama and Krishna exemplified. So when we tell devotees, oh to Bhagavan hai na, they don't have drama and God. It is not they have any body, they are all spiritualized, they don't have a material body. But we are with the material body, gross body, subtle body. Still we are not we are not spiritualized body. So yes, sab question I wanted to just ask you that how we make ourselves more stronger when situation comes, when like the car, somebody's car, when his car got an accident, I should work as if my car is gone. No, I cannot say when Vijay gave it to Hari, no problem here. But when it is my car, I am so much crying. So how to have the same compassion, samabhav and all? I'm hearing so many kathas, but application mein it doesn't come.
Yeah, this is with many. You're not alone. And yeah, it happens that when we are practically applying something. So first of all, we need to understand that what is the real understanding behind this. So this mamatva is there, and that mamatva causes that bondage. And therefore, when like 2 cars are parked, and the bird is passing the stool. If on someone else's car, no problem. So my car, I have to clean it up. So actually, both are cars actually. So when we understand that I am not the body in the sense, when we understand that these things are not mine but are under my care. So see, it is not that we are becoming indifferent. It is not that we are supposed to become indifferent. Nothing happens. Yeah, it's my car, your car, everything is same. So this platform is not going to come immediately. Well, so what we can do then? Actually, this belongs to Krishna and I am supposed to take care, so I should take care nicely. And when there is time for departure, I should not think of the car, I should think of Krishna.
So both times think that it's Krishna's car, so I have to clean.
Yeah.
It's Krishna's car, so I'm not bothered. I'm not going to get like the car.
Yeah. I have to take care of it. So when therefore this a kind of a proprietor, Prabhupada gives the analogy. You know that cashier working in the bank. Yeah, someone comes and deposits 10 lakh rupees. He's not elated. Oh, I'm so happy, 10 lakh rupees in my hand. And someone withdraws 6 lakh rupees. Oh, my 6 lakhs are gone today. And he doesn't bother much because he's just an employee. It is not his. He's just working for the bank. Whoever deposits is for the bank. Whoever withdraws, that is from the bank. So similarly, considering ourselves in that mood of an employee of the bank, and the banker is Krishna, owner. So whatever comes, whatever goes.
But very difficult to do, Prabhu. It's easy to tell. We are just the treasurer.
I'm not saying easy. I'm not saying it's easy. But it's not impossible also, right? It's not impossible. Because that person is living this life. Because he's getting paid for that. And he's living that life as a cashier. So to some extent, see, basically conscious practice, there is a term called as diligent practice. Diligent practice or conscientious practice. Conscientious practice means what? See, unless we put this philosophy into practice, there is not going to be a real life. So somewhere or the other, we need to start practicing. Okay, something is there. Then try to console ourselves and apply what kind of philosophy I am applying now. So see, this is called as actually in. I'll tell you. I will tell you through this. Where are we? Let me clear this first. What is happening? Just a second. So basically, this is what it is called as. What do you see here? What I have drawn?
You do some ladder.
Ladder, yeah. This is the ladder, and there is a name for this ladder. This is called as ladder of abstraction. Ladder of abstraction. Oh, what is this ladder of abstraction? I will tell you. And this is very important for us when we are living in this world. This is our experience. We are here. And we go through various experiences in our lives, right? And these are the bottom of the ladder. And on the top of the ladder, what we say, there are scriptures. So there are scriptures and the top of the ladder. So ladder of abstraction, what it tells us that we go through various experiences in our lives. Okay, what you are saying, my chappal is stolen, let us say. So my chappal is stolen. When I come to temple for darshan, my chappal is stolen. I'm getting this bad experience. Okay, or my experience. Okay. So then immediately we climb our consciousness into scriptures, let us say. Okay. What do scripture says? Okay, things are temporary. What Prahlad has said, we saw that shloka. Na? Yasmat priya viyog samyog. This is the nature of the material world. Whatever is priya, we are going to get separated from that. Whatever is apriya, we are going to get that. So okay, scripture say that. Okay, now again we come down. What is my experience? I lost my chappal. Oh, but okay, I can't go home barefoot. Let me try to search. I have invested 300-400 rupees, let us say, example. So let me search for some time. If I'm able to get, okay. If I'm not able to get, then also okay. Because I just climbed the ladder and coming down. So basically, ladder of abstraction means what? We go through different experiences in life. We have to climb up, see what scriptures say, then again come down and then see the situation. Then climbing up and down the ladder of abstraction is going to make us a realized soul. Otherwise, there are people who just know scriptures. There are people who just go through various experiences, but they don't climb it down. I'll give you a perfect example. I'll write down the example of a, let us say, doctor. Doctor sees various patients die, right? Various patients die day in and day out. In COVID, many doctors experience many things like that. So a doctor is there. Doctor has the experience of seeing death, right? But there is only death. Why the doctor is not getting realized? No, day in and day out they are seeing deaths. Because there is climbing up and seeing the scriptures and then climbing down is not there. Therefore, they are not getting realization. Experiences are there. Climbing down the ladder of abstraction, it is not there. Therefore, doctor is not getting realization. But a devotee doctor will immediately get realization. Oh, the body is temporary. I'm seeing so many deaths. Even we see death sometime in front of us. We get kind of a smashan vairagya, right? Timing renunciation. But when we again go dive deep into our experiences, then connect them with scriptures. Therefore, those who write journals, journal writing means what I say, connecting these two, climbing up. We are giving our mind a chance to dive into scriptures, okay, and then going down. Many time when we go through these experiences, actually we can correlate with them with scripture, and how can I apply that teaching in my present situation? And when we do every time through every experience, actually that is actually a realization. Realization is not something. Realization is not the product available on Amazon. We can't order that. So what do I need to do? Climb up and down. Go through experiences and connect them with scriptural teaching.
So Prabhuji, that's why Krishna gives us some, miseries in this world, and
that's why
we can understand.
Miseries are like exams. Miseries are like exams for us. Therefore, Kunti Maharani says, "Give me miseries, give me miseries." Why?
Why?
Ipadaha santuda shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yasyat punarbhav darshanam. When I get misery, I'll remember you. There is no darshan of then repeated birth and death. So therefore, she wants misery. So we may not want misery, but when we are in a situation of misery, then we can try to remember at least Krishna, try to remember their teachings, right?
Prabhuji, that Radhanath Maharaj told in the one lecture, that Stoka Krishna Prabhu, who really had built so much cancer and he lost everything, but he was smiling in gratitude. I'm so thankful. I'm in the Radha Gopinath temple and Prabhupada gave me this, that. He lost his hands, legs, he was in a wheelchair. But that is a very difficult situation when you are lost and you are thanking Krishna.
There are so many examples like this. Even Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to say, I'm thanking each and every cancer cell in my body. There is so much of pain, but I'm grateful for Krishna. Even recently, I saw one video some devotee sent me, Jaipatak Maharaj. He is having skin cancer now. So he was speaking, I'm having skin cancer, but I'm happy. I'm happy in your association. So that is the consciousness of great souls actually. And when we are with them, we try to learn from them, imbibe their values. We can be more grateful for what we have, right? Recently, I read a nice article on gratitude, which we said, for if you are grateful for, what it said? It said, gratitude for extraordinary things is ordinary. When there are extraordinary things in your life, you are grateful for them, then that gratitude is ordinary. But grateful for ordinary things is extraordinary.
So we should be grateful for ordinary thing. We should thank for lunch, dinner, everything to Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. Write every day love letter to Krishna in the night.
Yeah. So we are grateful for ordinary things, then our life becomes extraordinary actually, and then we are grateful for everything, and then grateful people are happy. Right?
In Prabhupada disciple, when Kunti Mataji also, Radhanath Maharaj said, she also had the same trouble, and then she left her body with gratitude.
Yeah, we saw her sloka. Vipada Santuda. Give us calamities. Because they are making us remember Krishna.
Not Kunti Mataji, not Kunti Maharani. Kunti, then one Prabhupada disciple.
Kunti Mataji. Kunti Mataji. Yeah, she also same thing. So many Prabhupada disciples actually, you see, they are like elevated souls. Very true.
I'm just praying that we should go back to Krishna. There's no other requirement. Only we all, not me, only all of us. Whole Bhakti Sangha, the whole world should go back to Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Krishna Dhan Prabhu. I'm so happy to see you, Prabhu. So wonderful, Prabhu. Mala Marathi Maite, Mumbai cha Marathi Maite. Jai Maharaj. Amchi Mati, Amchi Manas.
Keep blessing us.
I need a blessing, Prabhu. I am the servant of all of you. Thank you, Prabhu.
We can only take one more question.
Sukamataji, you've had your hand up for quite some time. Please go ahead with your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question was regarding where Srila Prabhupada says in one of the purports that Chitraketu's son was his enemy in some past life. And he says that has been explained already. I'm not sure. I may have missed the context. Can you please throw some light on that?
Which son you said?
Chitraketu's son was his enemy in his past life, and that's why he was suffering in this life because his son passed away early. And Prabhupada says that this has been explained earlier. I wasn't sure I got the context. Can you please point me to context?
I don't remember the context exactly, but yeah, there is a mention of this. In terms of karma, why we get what we get. Sometimes our enemy are born to us, and then they make us suffer in this life. So in that context, Prabhupada mentions that.
Sure, Prabhu. So you don't see a direct reference of that.
Yeah, when you search out actually where it is.
I see.
It's not
Okay.
at least the purport of the 6th canto.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your association today and for leading this class and giving us all of this wisdom and helping us come to certain realizations. Dear devotees, let's pay our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha Kapa Tarubhyascha Kripa
Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Great Krishna Dhan Prabhuji ki Jai.
Radhe Radhe.